Hello. Hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Friday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, where I help you look, start, and grow your side business. Welcome. Good to see you. Jenny, how are you? Welcome. I have a cool little story for you tonight. So how to turn any misfortune into salam into a positive, with just a little statement into a blessing, if you would. Now, I've been saying this thing for a long time. I've had to adapt to the statement over the struggles that I've had, and that's just, whatever happens, it's just like I've always said, there's got to be a blessing in there somewhere. There's some kind of a wisdom, some kind of a lesson in there somewhere, and I've said this for a long time. And but I came across a story. I think it was yesterday or today. It wasn't today. It was yesterday. I came across a story that it's so good. It's so good with the blessing, and so it is not a farmer story, which is a great thing. So the story goes as such: two friends are growing up together, if you would, in a family. They're just in and out together all the time. They're best friends, and they grow up together side by side. Turns out that one of the friends turns out to be a king. And so as soon as he turns out to be a king, he turns his friend into his assistant, right? So I don't know, what do you call him? King Junior? I don't know what you call him. I like farmers and farms. I definitely have a few farm stories. So he turns his friend into his right arm. I don't know what they call him. Well, what do they call him? I don't know. Somebody tell me something. So so with this being said, that the friend, anytime, ever since they were kids, anytime anything would go wrong, he would just say, hey, there's got to be a blessing in there somewhere. There's a blessing in there, I'm sure, right? Which is kind of interesting, because that's literally exactly the statement I say in my head all the time. So there's got to be a blessing in there somewhere, right? I just have to find it. So they grow up, becomes king, becomes his right arm. One day they go hunting, and the king pulls and draws, and somehow he injures himself, and he loses a finger. And so with the shame, everybody comes back home, and everybody's just really upset. But the friend, confidant, okay, I don't know if that's for the king though. So the friend turns out to the king and says, hey, listen, I'm sure there's a blessing in there somewhere. There's a blessing in there. Well, the king is so mad, so upset. He just lost his finger, that he takes his best friend and throws him into prison. For years and years go by, and the best friend is in prison while the king continues being a king. Well, one day, years after, the king decides to go for another hunt again. He kind of braves up, and he puts all his stuff on, and he gets his whole crowd together, and they sure go for a hunt. They go for a hunt, and as they're hunting, they get hunted by man-eating men in the jungle. I don't know what they call them. There's got to be a name in there for them, something. So these are humans that actually eat other humans in the jungle. Obviously, this may not be a true story, but it may be a very old story. I don't know if it's a true story or not. So and they capture all king. They captured the king and all his crew, and they take him into their village to prepare him to eat him. Well, they prepare everybody, and then when they get to the king and they're ready to prepare him, they notice that the king is missing a finger. Amy, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Hopefully you've been, I don't know if you've been here for a while or you circle back, watch the replay. But so as they're preparing, they notice that the king has got one finger less. Isabel, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. And so everybody kind of starts, they're talking to each other. Andrea, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So everybody starts talking to each other, and they're like, well, we can't eat this guy because he only has 9 fingers, and that's like a curse. You got to be a complete human, right? Gloria, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I don't know how long you guys have been here, but hopefully you circle back, watch the replay because the story is about to end. And so they're like, well, we can't eat this guy because he's not a complete human. So they let the king go. And the only one they let go is the king. Everybody else, all his crew, gets eaten up, and the king gets to survive. Well, the king comes back home all alone, scared, grateful, blessed, thankful. He gets home, and the first thing he does, he gets into prison. He gets his friend out, right? He gets his friend out, and he just gets down on his knees, and it starts begging for forgiveness. He says, I am so sorry. I am so sorry I put you in prison. And, I'm just so sorry. I'm blessed to be alive. And I'm very sorry. I hope that you forgive me. And he tells them the story about, the village people. Oh my goodness, the village people. The village people. And his friend calmly says, you know what? I'm sure there's a blessing in there somewhere, right? And village people, yeah, right. And the king says, how can you say that? How can you say there's a blessing in there somewhere? I have put you in prison for all these years. We haven't talked. We haven't done anything together for all these years. How can you not hate me? How can you say there's a blessing in there somewhere? And the friend says, well, it's obvious. The blessing would be if I were outside the prison, most likely I would have gone hunting with you and your crew. And when the village people got a hold of us, well, the only one who doesn't have a finger is you. So I would be right along that crew, and I'd lose my life. So there's a blessing there somewhere. And the king was just astonished at that wisdom. And I want to share this with you. That's a powerful story, by the way. If you didn't catch the ending, that's a powerful story. There's always there's always a blessing in every struggle, hardship. Now, when I say blessing, I don't mean you learn something. That's called a lesson. That's not a blessing, right? When you learn from your mistake or your struggle or what have you, that's something else. That's a lesson learned. But a blessing is when the whole experience, when that whole struggle turns out to be a positive thing in your life later on. It turns out to be a blessing. Losing that finger for that king at the moment or for all those years was to him was a curse, but it turned out to be a blessing at the end that he saved his life. Now, I can tell you this, where you struggle, where you feel like your story is painful. Samir, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Namaste, namaste. Hopefully you circle back, watch the replay, because this is about to be over. So when you look at your life and you see, okay, like for me, I know somebody else here too. For me, I've stuttered all my life, right? And I've always looked at stuttering as, well, not always, but for a long time, I used to look at it as a block, right? A personal block, not just a speech block, but a personal block, something that would block me from progression, right? From progressing, right? But it turns out that what you feel like is a disability, what you feel like is a lack, it turns out to be a major ability, a major positive in your life. Just look at everybody who has gone through struggles and what have you, and has made it. The whole point is you got to make it. You can't just be stuck in your struggle and say it's a blessing. In that case, it won't be a blessing. It's only a blessing if you get out of that struggle and use it to bless others, right? So, for example, for me, I share this live in 3 other stuttering groups, right? So, and I've done this for over 4 years, you know? So, and I have got a lot of friends from those groups, and I know people don't comment and people don't say much here and there, but I know people watch. And just watching is enough to give them a blessing. That say, okay, well, that's somebody who stutters or did, and now is fluent and is doing like Facebook Lives, and perhaps go on and change lives even more. So where you think you really are struggling, where you think is just a curse, I would say take a look, take a relook. I'll give you this, I have a lot of respect for like single moms, and I've shared this before in other lives, but I have a lot of respect for single moms. And then there's like, and the same goes with single dads. Okay, this is like single dads too, because I've known single dads, that have put their whole lives for their kids. So this goes for both. So I have such a respect for single mom, and I never grew up with a single mom or a single dad, so I don't know what that's like. But I have such a respect for single moms and then single dads. And then there's those other ones that they have like special need kids. I've talked about this before, special needs kids, right? And then there's those other ones that go and adopt, right? And then there's those other ones that go adopt special needs kids. It's like, right? Why people do that? There's a blessing in all those struggles. And if you feel like you are struggling somewhere, I would say take a look. I share stories like this all the time in our team group. You can see it on my wall today. I posted a couple of stories like this. Single moms doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. Busy mom of a special needs kids and this and that, and they're rocking. Now, how is that a blessing? Well, it's a blessing for other people to be an example. Wouldn't that be a blessing? Or would you rather see a single mom with a special needs kid sitting there and collecting welfare checks? Don't get me started. Don't. Welfare checks when they can easily work and get paid. and do amazing things? Which one's better? Which one's a blessing? I mean, they're both special kids, moms, single moms. They're both single mom, special kids. One sits home, collects welfare. Well, they can do all kinds of stuff online, right? But no. And then there's this other one that hustles and bustles and does all kinds of stuff and makes it happen. Which one's a blessing? Same situation. Exact same situation, but totally two different aspects. One, you look at it as a curse. One, you look at it, same situation, you say, it's a blessing. We're going to use this as a blessing. And I'm asking you to look or reevaluate your tough times, your challenges, where you think you struggle the most. There may lie the answer. So with that, hopefully you guys got some love, some inspiration, some value from this. I appreciate you guys. One takeaway, just one takeaway from this live. Drop it down in the comments below. Hey, but by the way, I got so much love on the song last night. I know a couple of you have asked me like what does that mean? Because obviously it's in Farsi, but from the Farsi community or what have you, I've got a lot of love. Thank you. So thank you. I appreciate that. I really like that song, and it is a good song. So yeah. So thank you. I did just get done with one more. It may be a duet. Who knows? Maybe two singers. Who knows? This is a spiritual song, so get ready for that. And yeah, so drop one takeaway from this live. Drop it in the comments below. Let this feed grow. And with that, if you feel like this was worthy of sharing, do what you got to do. Spread the love. Tag a couple of people. Share it on your wall. You know, sharing is caring. And with that, I am Sean Azimi with SideGigSean.com, where I help you look, start, and grow your side business. Signing off until tomorrow when we do it all over again. Much love.